L, who is who's with me today. And so we are going to dig into his story. So I've known Jim for when did we first talk? I honestly can't remember. Do you remember?
Yeah, so I had reached out to you via landmoto.com because there was a person who had messaged me. They were interested in land in San Diego, and I'm like, maybe I can like help, like do like a wholesale or something. And when you're in the beginning, like one lead is like really exciting, and so I was like, well, let me reach out to this guy William Goldberg on Landmoto. And you had all these listings in California, and I'm like, William Goldberg, this guy sounds like he's like 50 or 60 years old. It sounds like, a very like older gentleman. And I think you picked up the phone right away. I think I called, and you're like, yeah, this is Willie. And then we just started chatting back and forth.
So sorry,
And
when was
then
this? What was
this
the
was
date?
like it's probably late 2018, I would
Okay, so this
say.
is a while ago, long time ago.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, this guy's friendly. He sounds like he's super successful. I was still, starting out and still, trying to get those sales. And so it's been cool to kind of see you go from, someone who was doing real well to someone who's now doing like, even better. Now you've got like a team in place and stuff like that. So that's cool, man. And you've always been good. And even though I don't think I've ever paid you like anything. I think I got you like a cup of Starbucks. I think like a gift certificate for Starbucks for like $10 one time. But you've always been very good about like sharing advice and just giving feedback, that type of thing. And we've just kind of talk land back and forth. I'll make fun of the Bears, you make fun of the
Yeah,
Lions. Those were both Midwest guys. Um, but yeah, you've just been a fun person to talk to. You've had good advice. And just full disclosure, like I started in flight school with a land geek in March of 2018, and then I did coaching, and they're absolutely fantastic. Um, they're awesome. They've given me, all the tools that I need, but I still will, listen and look and see what other people are doing. No one has like a monopoly on good ideas, and things are always changing so fast. And there's so many new tools coming out that I think one of the best things that's kind of helped me is I've just been kind of shameless in asking people questions, saying, "Hey, what's working?" or "Hey, I ran into this issue. What do you think of my idea that I have to get around it?" That type of thing. So, yeah, I mean, I have no like paid relationship with you or anything like that. You asked me to come on, and we've had such a good relationship that yeah, I wanted to make an appearance and hopefully help out, whoever's watching this, if they're your client or someone else's client. Yeah, it's a really cool space, and you have good things to say. So yeah, happy to be here.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and yeah. So I mean, we've known each other for a while now, so thought it would be good to get you on. And we've gone back and forth a lot. So yeah, and so I just want to mention anyone listening, if you got any comments for Jim or myself, and you have any questions, feel free to chime in. Um, and before we get into it, I want to mention if you guys are interested in land investing, we've got a new course. You can go to landinvestingpros.com and you can find out more information there. But yeah, let's get into it. I guess. Do you mind sharing a bit about your background, what you've, where you started, how you got interested in land investing? I guess what attracted you towards land investing, and I guess what have you been up to so far?
Yeah. So what got me interested in it was I kind of fell into it it all started with Bitcoin back in 2017. And I had a business with Bitcoin, and obviously Bitcoin went from 500 to like 20,000 in 2017. So I was very lucky that I kind of got in at the right time, and it was good, but it wasn't really sustainable, and it wasn't something that, even though I paid taxes and I declared all my transactions, it was something that was still in somewhat of a um, not like a totally well defined area. So I wanted to transition into something more sustainable. And so I started listening to the Side Hustle Nation podcast with Nick Loper. And I listened and I said, I loved the business that I had so much. And I was like, you know what? The corporate world is great, but being an entrepreneur and trying to do something on my own it's a lot better fit for me. So that's why I started listening to the Side Hustle Nation podcast. I listened to a whole bunch of ones that I thought would be interesting. And I listened to these land ones with Mark Podolsky. And I was like, that's like really interesting. Like it kind of blended analysis. I do a lot of that with Excel because I work in finance. It combines a little bit of marketing, a little bit of sales, a little bit of technology and stuff like using Facebook, using your phone, and I'm not like a very old person. I'm obviously pretty tech savvy, so it seemed like it checked a lot of boxes. It could also scale up. It was also something that could be done from anywhere, and so that's what really got me interested in it. And so I reached out to Land Geek and the Land Geek community, and they were just phenomenal. Like um, they were very personable. And then I went to like a boot camp. I went through flight school, and yeah, it's been great. I mean, the the information is now kind of like freely available, right? Like no one, there's not many like secrets. It's just a matter of like putting it together and doing the work, really. So that's kind of the background.
Okay, cool. So you got started, and then what happened? How did you get rolling? And yeah, can you talk about a little bit about your experience so far in land investing?
Yeah, so how I got started was in flight school. They pretty much walk you through, all the basic. They break it out into a number of weeks, and each week they focus on one thing. Like I think even you have like courses, and they're broken out into separate modules, right? So that's kind of how it was structured in a similar way. So, I started out mailing, offer letters out to various counties, and you get some angry phone calls, or you get some joke offers back where you maybe offer $500 for someone's parcel and then they ask for like 20,000. So I got some of those types of things. um, but yeah, I mean, I eventually bought my first few parcels, and I started mailing in late March, early April. I got my first offers back in like May, and I ended up buying some in May. um, and then I made my first sale. It took me a while. I made my first sale probably in August, and yeah, it's just been pretty steady since then. I think one of the things that I should have done sooner was probably outsource more, because then I was like writing all the Craigslist ads, all the Facebook ads, posting all the ads, doing the due diligence, doing the mailing, doing the county reach, like everything. And now I do significantly less, and it's definitely like that's the only way to grow, right? If you have to go do everything yourself, it's going to be very tough to grow.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. So I mean, that makes sense. Was there a moment when you realized that you needed to start outsourcing more, or I guess what kind
Yeah,
of made you realize that?
I mean, I should have done it sooner, and I think it was probably like might have been like late December, early January, because I think I had gone through like maybe 3 or 4 VAs who were just like garbage, and I'm like, this is just not working out. Like, or you'd have to show them like everything, and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I could do this so much faster. And I think the key is to finding good VAs, and maybe paying them a little bit extra. My VA now is like, I mean, I've always had a good intake VA. She's always been good, but I've never had a good marketing VA. And then I got someone really good. I got fed up, so I said, all right, I'm going to find someone really qualified. And so I've had her since early part of this year.
Did you go to Upwork
And
or
I mean,
something,
it's
or how did you find her?
yeah, I found her on Upwork, and this is pretty. It was pretty useful for me. I literally said I want someone who has at least, and I think like 100 billable hours already, so they have a proven track record, and then their ratings are great, like over 90% approval.
Mhm.
So that way you're kind of guaranteeing, or you're at least eliminating your risk of getting someone who's like a dud. And before, I tried to hire people off Craigslist who were local to the market or to the state that I was focusing on. And yeah, I mean, you can really waste a lot of time that way. So, I mean, I kind of learned it the hard way, but I feel like in this business, like there's so many things you do end up learning the hard way. Like nobody just gets everything perfect the first time. So yeah, getting a good VA was definitely like a game changer for me, and yeah, it's definitely been probably one of the biggest things that's helped me out.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And so I guess, do you mind sharing how much you're paying your current VA? I agree, it's important to have people working for you. I mean, like the quality of work is absolutely the most important aspect, and not finding the cheapest labor
Least,
possible. It's really about finding people who can help you out and get the work done. So I guess
yeah,
how much are you paying this new person? How did you train them?
yeah. So I pay them. There was a couple of people that I interviewed who I thought were all qualified, and you can pay anywhere from. I mean, you can really pay like anything you want. I mean, there's so many people on Upwork. I pay right around the $10 an hour range, but and the way that I trained the the current VA, I also have an intake manager who's paid separately, but the marketing VA who I work with, I've trained her myself. Like, all, I it would she's now learned, like, every day we would learn something else, cover something else, and then document the processes as we were learning, so that if something happens, now we have this library where someone else could fill that seat if she decided to leave. But I hope she never leaves.
Yeah, no, that's great.
um, but basically, it's just a process of like taking the information in your brain, showing them how to do it, and then they know how to do it, and then you have it recorded, so it's not like you have to sit and do it next time. You can have a video or documents in place so you can train people. But I mean, it takes time. Like, there's no. I mean, I know you do it full time. I work full time. So I only get maybe 2 or 3 hours a night where I can focus on land, which is like another, it's another huge bottleneck. If you have like the whole day to do it, it becomes a lot easier to follow up with customers and deal with a lot of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's no other way to do it other than to start outsourcing that stuff that someone else can do.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I don't know if you're aware, we actually launched a site a couple of days ago, landvas.com, giving people access to our VAs. So if anyone's interested in that, you could go to landvas.com. And curious on how you are documenting your process. Do you have a certain how are you doing that? Do you have software that you're using, or you just get using Google Sheets and uploading it and saving it into a folder?
Yeah, some of it was Google Sheets. Some of it I just had her document on her own. But yeah, a lot of Google Sheets. Um, but now, I mean, once people know how to do it, then it's in their brain, and they don't need to. It's not like she needs to print it out and read it every time. She knows how to do it, and one of the best things about her is she's a smart person, so that she knows if she runs into an issue, she can try and figure it out on her own, or she can Google it. It's not like this thing wasn't written perfectly and it's like hitting a brick wall, and like she has to stop and email me, and
Yeah,
it's just like, if you that's why you want to pay extra for, like, good help, smart people who can help you, not just like drain your energy. So yeah, I had some bad VAs, and anyway, you just gotta be smart about hiring, and don't be afraid to pay $1 or 2 extra per hour, because it's worth it if you get the right person.
yeah. And are you just tracking all the standard operating procedures just in case she leaves, or you just want to have it on record? I guess what's your thought process behind that?
Yeah, I
I think
use
it's a
I
great
use
idea.
yeah, I mean, I think Google, and if you use LastPass, I mean, they're pretty good about kind of keep it. You have to be good about keeping things in your kind of ecosystem, and making sure that your information is backed up.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's not like they're just sitting on her hard drive or something. Like, it's in my kind of domain, um, and I could remove her access, that type of thing. So yeah, it's always smart to think about that.
Okay, good. And in terms of, if you don't mind digging into your strategy a little bit, how do you think about choosing markets, and how do you think about inventory management? Like, where are you buying? Like, you buying all in the same area, you buying it all over the country, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends. I mean, if I was starting out, I think I would do things a little bit differently, in terms of just going, I guess, where the money is, or going where like the most activity is. But for me, I've kind of focused on a few states, and I think my strategy, and everybody can do it their own way. I'd like to have kind of a lot of land in that market. So like I know you work in California, you don't just focus on one county in California. You have, I think like San Bernardino County, LA County, Kern County. You have a bunch of different options in that state. So I think it's good to have land that, if someone visits your site and they like a property, but it's not exactly what they're looking for, you have a couple of other options for them. I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. And at this point, we're actually pretty nationwide. Not nationwide, but we're in probably 6 different states. So we're diversifying a bit, just trying to find those hot markets as well. Um, and so I guess what price points are you buying at? And I guess maybe you could talk about your average margin on a deal, or average price you're buying, and average price you're selling. Or are you selling on cash? Are you selling on terms? What's your thought process with that?
Yeah, I mean, I try and have like a different variety. So I have some that are, smaller desert lots, and then some that are 5 acre parcels, some that are, um, bigger. But I think one of the things that's probably held me back is I used to only do smaller parcels, like 1 acre lots, 2 acre lots. And, it's not that much more effort to sell like a 20 acre lot or a 40 acre lot. And those are what I've noticed is a lot of times people tend to get more excited about that. Like they get excited about owning, you know, 40 acres for $200 a month versus, 1 acre for $99 a month. Um, so I think it's good to have like a wide variety, have land in a couple of different places so people have options. They know that if something isn't right exactly the first time, that um, you have a couple of options for them to pick from, and you're always in the process of getting more so that they can really they notice to be tuned into you.
Cool. Yeah. No, I think it's definitely the case. So if your focus is primarily on terms, that sounds, is that right?
No, I mean, I would say I limit it. I mean, if someone wants to give me cash, I mean, that's great. I know some people say they don't like to wholesale or they don't like to not make as much with cash. But I mean, to me, if you double your money, I mean, I'd do that all day long. If everybody said tomorrow they were going to pay off all their notes, I would be totally fine with that. I wouldn't have any problem with that at all because I know I can just go out and do more mailing, buy more land, that type of thing. So, I mean, it is cool to have that passive income coming in, but it's
Yeah.
also nothing is as sweet as cash. So I don't know. I'll take business any way I can get it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. If everyone would pay cash, would be pretty nice. I've found that most people just want to pay terms, and you're probably finding the same.
Yeah.
So you're probably having a bit of term sales, but yeah, I totally agree with you. If everyone wanted to pay cash today, it would be great. And do you mind sharing how many deals you've done to date, and I guess what has been your trajectory over since you started? Like I guess you probably, I'm assuming you're doing more deals today than you were when you first started this a little while
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, definitely. So, I thought I did poorly last year because my passive income wasn't like skyrocketing. It was growing steadily, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like it didn't just keep reaching new high month after month. There were a lot of months where it would move up and then people would stop paying or people would pay off. Um, so I was like, I didn't do that well last year. But it turns out last year I sold about 50 parcels. I think it was 51. And I was like, what? I mean, when I hear about people selling one a week, I was like, there's no way that would happen. But it turns out I ended up doing that, just under that amount. A lot of them are cash sales, a lot of them are wholesales, but that's fine. I mean, if you can make money and move on, that's great. So, um, yeah, I've been, Mark Podolsky, he says to be patient with your results, impatient with your efforts. And I think that's how I've been. I've been probably too impatient with the results, but this year, to be honest, I don't know what the year to date sales are, but what I would say is, I I got my main Facebook account banned. I got it disabled because it was an account that my wife and I had that didn't have either one of our full names, and we got some wrist slaps. And eventually, we had to unlock it using our ID, and I think they saw that the ID wasn't um, like like a person's legal name, so they disabled the account. So I went without Facebook for quite a while. So now I'm trying to rebuild that. So it's been a bit of a slower start to the year, but I'm liking where I am right now going into the summer.
Okay, cool. And I guess that brings me to another point. I guess where are you mostly marketing these properties? And I guess what channels are you seeing the most success?
Yeah, I think the most success, I think like a lot of people, I think Facebook is probably the most easy one to get leads from. If you write a good ad, you can get a ton of leads from Facebook. Craigslist too. Craigslist is actually pretty steady. If you have someone that you work with who posts regularly for you, you can get good leads that way. I've had sales from there. And then most importantly is the buyers list too, because you own your buyers list, and that's where you really build the relationships, because people will say, "Well, do you have anything here?" And then you can respond to them, get to know them. Um, People aren't just going to buy something from you if they don't really know you, and you can really build up a good relationship with your list. So that's another source of a lot of sales.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think buyers list is huge, and that's probably consistent with how we market, just building buyers list and selling most of the properties through email and through that buyers list. What strategies do you have for building that list?
Every time you talk to people on Facebook, I know you're a big proponent of this too, is getting their email address. Just not being afraid to ask for their email address. And once they give you the email address, you can send them information about the property. You can add them to the buyers list. Um, and just communicating well with them, following up with them. Obviously, if you have to wear like all the hats, it's going to be tougher and tougher to keep in touch with every single person. Obviously, you're probably at a stage where you don't now really talk to very many people that come through. You have salespeople that do that, but when I found that communicating with people, staying in touch with them was very valuable, because a lot of times if you're selling something that people have to put down, thousands of dollars for, or even hundreds of dollars a month, they
Yeah,
want to know you and they want to have a good relationship with you, that type of thing.
cool. And so I believe I can't remember. I think you do have a website. Is that correct?
Yeah, landsforyou.com.
Okay. And yeah, so what benefit do you feel having a website provides?
It's good. It brings in some leads, and then it's also just it builds your reputation too. Like people say, well, it just makes you look like an established, credible business, and not just some guy selling some land that he stumbled into. It just builds credibility and adds to your stature.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And so I think in kind of the niche that we're playing in, it's really important to establish credibility and build trust. Really building trust is the main thing that's going to allow you to sell property. Because how many times have you been asked, like, is this a scam?
Yeah, there was one this week. I actually made a sale this week, and somebody said, they asked numerous times. So they really wanted to buy, and they just needed reassurance. So if you have a website, if you have testimonials, even if you just take your phone and you record a video of yourself, those are all things that help. Like every little bit, every kind of thing you can touch people with and say, hey, here's another thing, so I'm real, I'm genuine. That definitely helps.
Yeah, so I always say every little thing you can do to build trust is going to be helpful and help conversion. It's all about helping conversion, and if you can get over the one main objection, which is this is a scam, like if you can get over that and people think you're a credible business, that is the one objection. If you overcome that objection, you'll get can't even tell you how many more sales than you will if you just post on Craigslist, Facebook, Zillow, or wherever. If you have a legitimate website, accepting credit cards, doing things right, building out proper sales funnel, and people don't think it's a scam, you're gonna kill it. So I like to emphasize that a lot because I think it's really important in building up that buyers list and selling through there. And if all those buyers on that buyers list think that you're legitimate, then things are gonna go really well. Um, cool. And are you using any paid sites to post your properties, or just on the free ones?
I just started on Land Flip, so I'm using them to post some properties on.
Have you
But I
found any
mean,
luck through there?
it was literally I started it like this week.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I've gotten one lead in like 1 week. Very
Okay.
very small sample
All right.
size. But you know what? with Facebook being, it got banned, and it wasn't just like it was also like kind of an emotional setback because I had so many conversations going in there. I had most of the email addresses already saved, but to lose an account that you spent 2 years building is, really sucks. So,
You got to find new
um,
avenues.
yeah. And so I was like, while I build this new thing up, while I kind of take a step back, let me see if it's worth, maybe trying out a paid land site. So yeah, I've tried a paid one. And then I think if you have like an unlimited amount of money, like if you have 10,000 a month coming in, I mean, what's another $100 on another land site, right? Like
Yeah.
what's $200 on two land sites or something like that. So
Yeah. Well, do you mind sharing what your average margin is on a sale? If you have that, just like what you.
I honestly I don't track like it's like I have to do. There's so many things I have to do. Like I have like a full-time job too. So some of like the more like nitty-gritty stuff, like what's the yield on this? What are the analytics? Like all that stuff. Like I don't track it as well as I should.
Do you have a ballpark?
You know,
Any idea?
a ballpark. I mean, I shoot for on a cash sale probably at least you try and like quadruple the money. That's what I mail out the offer letters at. So I'd say I probably hit that unless it's a deal of the week where I discount the price a little bit. Um, so yeah, I mean it's generally around there. I'd say you're probably trying to mail out offer letters at probably, you know, 25 cents on the dollar, and then you're trying to capture all of that on a retail sale. I think that's fairly standard.
Yeah.
So nothing too special. Occasionally you might there was one property I bought. It was probably I guess my favorite deal was where I bought something and I actually sent out a photographer because this was like a bigger site and it was like kind of my biggest purchase to date. And it was I didn't even realize it. The woman didn't tell me. It had a well on the site, which is like insanely rare, and then it had power, and she didn't mention either of those things. And I was like, wow, like what a gold mine. So
Sometimes you
that
get
one
lucky.
was
Good things happen when you
yeah,
send out
sometimes
mail.
yeah, exactly. And so that was really really cool to get that sale. I mean, definitely not like a common occurrence, but yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I guess the point I was just trying to get is I don't know what your margins are if they're 5 grand, 10 grand. Ours are 13 on owner finance sales, but if you're paying like $100 a month and that gets you one sale over the course of a year, then I would consider that avenue to be a success. Like if you just say you want to 5x your marketing spend with like what your profit's going to be on that, then I think like all these land sites are like really really cheap, and so if you're able to
Well,
I mean,
some of them like the lands.com, I think you said, I think I heard on like one of your podcasts, it's like 1,800 a month, right?
we pay like around
Is it?
1,500.
Oh, 1,500 a month. Okay. I mean, that's a lot. Like even if you have I mean, I guess it depends on, you know, how much exposure you have and how many properties you have. Obviously, when I was, if you're just starting out, you probably don't have 1,500 to spend a month
Right.
on, all the land sites. But yeah, for higher end properties, if you got the Willie G money, then yeah, I mean, that's like he's got that in his couch cushion. So yeah, no big
Yeah.
deal for
Well,
you.
if you're getting started on like Lands America, I think the cheapest plan is like a few $100s. So I mean, if you want just like even like I think 10 properties is probably the lowest, or maybe you can even do one property. I don't really know, but if you have like even that, even a few $100s a month, like while that might seem a lot, and it probably is as you're getting started, like if you get one sale on that, and you've got relatively healthy margins, like you're gonna make that up times a lot over the course of a year, assuming you're um, selling some
True.
off the site. So I think it's silly for people to question whether or not those sites are worth it because I think I mean, you should be paying to advertise your property, but I think it's good if you're trying to land flip. I think we haven't posted on there, but I think literally today we got a subscription, so we're gonna try that out and see how that goes. Um,
Which one?
land flip, the one that you just mentioned, I haven't.
Oh, I
I
see.
tried it in the past, and then it didn't get too many bites, but I think we're gonna give it another shot.
Oh, okay.
See how it goes.
I got you. Sure. Hey, you should have
Um,
asked me for a referral code. Come
do you
on.
have one?
I don't even. I assume so, but
Oh, I think
whatever.
you asked me for one, and I didn't
I
have one,
did. Oh yeah. I did ask you
and
for
then I didn't
one,
have
but
one.
then you said yeah, you didn't have one.
Um, yeah, cool. So I guess how's your business doing now in the current environment?
What you mean with like the COVID stuff?
Yeah,
I mean, it's the same. Like I haven't changed anything. The thing has changed with my schedule. Like I'm now working from home, so there's good things and bad things about that. But yeah, I mean, nothing's changed really. I mean, like you still have to put out ads, you still have to respond to people, you still have to take care of your existing customers, all that type of stuff. So, I mean, I'm not spending more. Spending it's pretty much like the same. Like my life is so busy, I don't have time to like sit and strategize about what am I going to do differently. It's the same the, nothing's really changed for me. Even in terms of like getting leads, selling property, nothing's really changed all that much.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good. So you haven't seen any decline in deal volume or on the lead volume on the sell side or lead volume on the buy side. Everything's been relatively the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think with my new Facebook account because it's still so brand new, it's still not like I don't know if it's like trusted yet. I'm not getting as many leads from there, so I have to kind of work on that. But
Yeah.
yeah, nothing beyond that, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's pretty consistent. We have not seen much change whatsoever on either buy side or sell side. Um, so hopefully things stay consistent, but I don't think anything too dramatic is gonna. I think this niche is pretty secure in an economic downturn, which is very fortunate. And I think part of the reason I got involved, and I mean why I think the fundamentals of this niche are so strong, is because I really don't think that it's going to be too impacted uh, in a recession. So it's good to hear that you're active and doing things, and you're seeing kind of the same thing right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. For me, it's been pretty much business as usual. I did have some questions for you. I
Yeah,
don't know
let's
if
hear it.
you
Of course,
so
we can
if
turn this
you
around.
so when you started, you were working full time too, right?
Correct.
And then how did you manage to do the business with only like a few hours per day? What were kind of the things that you focused on?
Yeah, so I mean, I focused on really just the most important aspects of it. So Um, I mean, I made time during the day. I wasn't a great employee. I definitely took a lot of phone calls during the day. Went to conference rooms, went downstairs. I can't even tell you how many times, but I was like, I feel pretty strongly that being on the phone is probably the number one thing you can do in your business. Is talking to buyers, talking to sellers, figuring out all the logistics in between are like necessary, but the main things are talking to people, really. So I still made time during the days to just get in conference rooms and try to get on the phone with people.
Yeah,
I did all like when I got home is when I really did all of my. I did a lot of deep preparation and preparing closings at work. Um,
sure,
and
sure.
I don't know. I try to manufacture time. I just
Yeah,
focused on the highest dollar per hour activities, try to get those. And, um, I yeah, and then outsource whatever you can. Leverage
gotcha.
VAs. Try to do all that, but
So let me ask you this. So if let's just do a quick role play. So if I'm on Facebook Messenger, I say, hey, is this still available? Right? Well, what would you typically respond with?
um, I would say, what is your email? I will send you more information. Is how I
Okay,
responded
okay. So then I give you my email address. What if I said, hey, are you free to chat? You'd say,
at the
yeah,
office.
right? Yeah, or even if you're at home or something.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay,
If you
so then if I
can,
give you my number, I call you up, ring, ring, and then what you say, hello, this is Willie.
yeah. This is Willie. I guess we were talking to Facebook. Anything I could answer on the property you inquired about, something like that.
Yes. So is this land? So yeah, tell me more about this land.
Um, I hate those questions, but
But see, that's what I wanted to ask. Like,
yeah,
because I think a lot of people, when they get a phone number, it's like, and even I struggle with this too. I don't know exactly. how the phone call should go start to finish. Like I have a few bullet points where I talk about here's some basic information about the land. But then I always try and ask, like, what are you looking to do? But I don't want to be so specific that like I don't have what they're looking for. So, I mean, if somebody says, "Tell me about the land," you describe a parcel to them. I mean, how do you kind of steer that conversation?
So I guess more experienced me, like as I am deeper in the land business, I like wouldn't entertain those conversations whatsoever. Even though I was still like
Wait,
even pretty.
you wouldn't get on the phone?
No, I would, but I would not take a long time on the phone. When I first started, I was like so super eager for a sale. I would talk about anything. Later in my journey, like I mean, so many people reach out on Facebook. So many people want to get on the phone. I will get on the phone, but I will not like waste a ton of time talking to people because man, you could waste so much time doing that. And
Okay. But if someone's starting out and they are eager for a sale,
yeah,
right?
I think
And they're
yeah, I
trying to
think being on
grow
the
it as
phone,
fast.
yeah, I think it's worth trying to sell people on the phone for sure. But
So when you say sell people on the phone, if somebody asks you to talk about the land, you talk about the land and then do you try and like close them right then and there? Do you try and like ask for a sale
yeah, I mean,
or
some
do
some
you
common things I do are yeah, I try to assume the sale, try to get their credit card over the phone, input it, make it, do that kind of thing. But um, yeah, like if they're like, what can be done on this property, I'll just like literally hang up. Obviously, like there was,
Jeez.
I wouldn't actually hang up on them on the spot. I would
Yeah.
get off the phone right away. But I mean, when you're trying to do like if they're so far like in the beginning of their journey of their land buying journey that like they're asking like what can be done on this property and or tell me about more property you have. I'm like this buyer's like needs a couple weeks.
I
Um,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so I
So you do try and screen them and then try and get an idea of how close they are if they have their credit card in their hand or if they're
oh yeah, if they're if they're
just
if they're a
like
hot lead, they're like ready to buy or they just need a little bit more information, but you get the sense that they're ready to buy. Oh yeah, I'll spend a lot of time with them. But if they're like, what can be done? Have you called the county about this?
yeah, yeah.
Well, how far is the nearest electric pole?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
I'll
course,
I'll
yeah.
go out there next week or in 2 weeks when I get my social security check. But after that, I'm just like, all right, talk to me later.
Yeah.
I can't spend too much time.
So how do you try and qualify someone on the phone? Do you have like a couple of phrases that you try and use or some good questions that you use to try and tease that out?
I guess one thing that you could screen with them on the phone is, I guess, what's your timeline to buy? And if they say, oh, once I get my paycheck in 2 months, I'll be good, then like I'm not going to spend any time with them. If they say I could be ready to buy today, I just need some more information, then uh, I'll spend some time with them on the phone.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's smart because yeah, there's definitely been conversations I had with like sometimes you get like an old person on and they keep talking and talking, but then also, sometimes it happens quick where people are like ready to go and so yeah, I think it makes sense to try and qualify people and ask the types of questions where, how ready are you type of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
That
definitely.
even works on like Facebook Messenger too. You can kind of ask, once you've been talking to people for a while, like how interested are you? Like, is this something you're ready to move on, or are you just asking questions?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that's good. Any other questions or anything that you
Yeah,
bugging you right
just
now?
like how do you kind of follow up with people? So once they're in so let's say you get someone's email address, you email them, and then are you just going back to them on Facebook Messenger, or are you going back to them on email? Or if you get if someone's asking for info and they give you your email address, and then you probably have something where on the back end it sends out an email, or you email them manually or something. Then where do you follow up from there?
Yeah, so I'll plug them into my buyers list, and then there's an auto email sequence that goes through and builds trust with my company pretty much, and just informs them of everything they need to know if they were interested to buy a property with us. And then from there, there's manual emails that go out to the full list. Everyone who's gone through the automatic email sequence will now get deal of the week type things and just try to push some sales through email. So they'll be automatically on that list. And before we had a full time sales guy, there was I had a pretty like crazy spreadsheet with follow up sequence on how when I should follow up with people and like how often and just keep track of all that. I had VAs helping with that. So I mean, if you want, you could try to track everything in Excel and get VAs to just follow up with them on Facebook, follow up with them via email more manually, and you could just put together, just put some brain work forward and just figure out a system for follow ups for the VAs to do it, so you don't have to. But even when I first started, I wasn't spending too much time on the follow ups. As I got more into it, I started to get other people to follow up for me. So that's kind of
Sure.
and then now we have a sales guy, so I'm 100% removed from the sales process.
Yeah, I
Um,
gotcha.
yeah,
Cool, man. Yeah, now you have someone else doing all that
yeah,
stuff for you.
yeah.
Now you just got to sign the checks, man. It's a tough life.
Tough job. It's a tough job. Cool. How's everything going with you otherwise?
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Things are going good. I mean, it's definitely different working from home. Like
Yeah,
it's definitely been a change the last few weeks. Um, the first 2 weeks were lousy, but now like I'm getting into a good rhythm, waking up real early so I can get all my like. It's funny. Like I didn't realize how much going into work kind of would force me to like wake up at a certain time, work out at a certain time, eat lunch at a certain time. Like those windows like actually really help. And so if you have none of those, it definitely takes some getting used to, and you have to kind of manually put those restrictions back on yourself so you are maximizing your time.
yeah. I definitely feel that. How's the wife and kid? The baby? I
Good.
don't know
Yeah,
if
she's
baby's the
doing
right word
good.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a toddler now. Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, she's great. Wife's great. No complaints. Yeah, I mean, it's like, you watch the news and there's people sick, or there's, doctors or nurses who have to go into like, hospitals with lots of sick people and germs. And so,
Yeah,
I mean, you're very fortunate if you get to work from home and still get a paycheck, and, you can, not have to, risk your life. So I'm feeling pretty fortunate these days.
good, good. And so if anyone's listening to this and they're interested and maybe want to reach out to you, I guess what would be a good way for them to yeah, contact you?
Yeah, you can just email me at jim@landsforyou.com. And yeah, I'll be happy to, respond. You can also, yeah, just, yeah, email's probably the best.
Okay, cool. Anything else you got for me?
No, it's been fun knowing you. I mean, we've never met in person, but I literally called you. I remember the day I called you up on, from like Land Moto, and I'm like, who's this William Goldberg guy? So I called you up, and yeah, we've been, good friends ever since. And it's always fun to, just joke around back and forth with you and bounce questions off you. And yeah, it's Willie's a good guy, and if you have questions, he's always willing to help you out.
Cool, awesome. All right, well, um, appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch. So thanks for
Awesome,
joining
man.
me. Appreciate it.
Take care.